to know how much erosion is actually happening over a given area, and how to depending on whether it is in permissible limit or it is beyond that permissible limit, how to control it. But first thing what we have to do, first we have to control the erosion. So this is actually we are saying this is admissible soil loss limit globally, around 5 to 10 tons per hectare per year. That is actually admissible. If the values are beyond this one, then it is actually a alarming sign. Okay, so at present in India, the soil loss approximately in most of the agricultural land is actually around 20 to 30 tons per hectare per year, which is quite a bit alarming. Okay, so and then we have started to estimate the soil loss. We have seen the equation. We have seen that erosion is a function of various things. For example, the climate of a given region, the soil, what kind of soil texture we have, topography, and the land use. And or in a case of watershed, it is actually soil loss is a function of the parameters that is related to the watersheds. What is happening inside the watershed and how much rainfall that is happening into the watershed. So related with the watershed parameter. So there are two ways to estimate to determine the soil loss. One can be done by actually measuring by doing the actual measurement in the field, or it can be theoretically estimated based on some parameters that are related with the watershed. So this is one such approach is actually that is given here. A is equal to for a small agricultural watershed. So soil loss from that agricultural watershed can be estimated using this equation. A is actually average annual soil loss, which is given by A is equal to RK LSCP. Okay, so we have seen just a second. Okay, so what we have seen, there are various factors that are responsible to the erosion, and the magnitude of soil erosion actually is a function of two things. One is actually whether the soil is erodible, and what is the erosivity of the rain. So rain is actually is a starting point that actually helps in detaching the soil particles, and depending on what kind of overland flow, magnitude of overland flow that is happening, then soil will be transported from one place to another place, and depending on the later stage, it will be deposited. So both the erosivity of the rain and the erodibility of the soil, these are actually influencing the magnitude of soil erosion. Okay. Okay. So this universal soil loss equation is actually uh, yeah. So it is actually initially proposed by Wishmeyer and Smith in 1958, and further it was developed in 1978 or 76 to 78, which is at its present form actually. So originally proposed by Wishmeyer and Smith in 1958 and modified to its present form by Wishmeyer in 1906. So it what it represents, so USLE, that is a universal soil loss equation, is an erosion prediction model which can be used to estimate long-term average soil erosion from either by sheet erosion or rill erosion from a specified land under specified condition. So specified land and specified under condition. With reference to that, actually, so these terminologies are important. So USLE is an erosion prediction model, which is most widely used across the globe for estimating the long-term average of soil erosion from either by sheet erosion or rill erosion from a specified land under specified condition. Okay, so it tells us about the two things. First is actually what kind of soil loss, how much amount of soil loss that is happening from our land. So it gives an estimate of average annual soil loss. Then, depending on the soil loss, whether whatever the conservation practices that we are adopting, whether they are sufficient or not. If they are not sufficient, then what should be our conservation practices so that the soil loss can be reduced. Okay, so all those things actually can be uh, can be we can have this information by estimating the soil loss or by using this equation. Okay. Okay, so as I said, this soil loss is a function of two things: the erosivity of rainfall and erodibility of the uh, erodibility of the soil. So actually here you can see in the diagram, the R is actually your rainfall, that is the input to the system, and our system includes various factors. So K is actually the erodibility of the soil, the property of the soil, whether it is highly erodible or low, very less erodible or resistant to erosion. L and S are actually the topography related parameter, the length of slope, the slope parameter, slope length factor. L is not the length of slope, but L represents the slope length factor. S represent the slope steepness or slope gradient factor, and together these two L and S represent the topographic factor. Each of these are a factor. K is also factor, LS is also factor, C is also factor, and P is also factor. C is actually your cropping management practice factor, or simply we can say vegetative cover factor. And P is actually the erosion control or the conservation practices that are being practiced in the field. Okay. So by using the input which is in the term of rainfall that we cannot control, uh, uh, and the watershed parameters, that is actually KLSCP, will get the output in the form of soil erosion. So here A represent the average annual soil loss. So here average means that is on an average uh, over an area, but that does not mean that everywhere erosion will be same. So average is actually related to that entire area. So representative value uh, over that area. Okay. Yeah. So this we have seen. Yeah. So A is represented by A. A is actually your annual soil loss. That is represented by A is equal to R into K into LSCP, where R is actually erosive power of rain, and KLSCP is actually the erodibility of the or the combination of various parameter related with the watershed that makes soil more erodible surface, or that makes soil surface more erodible. So R governs the R is actually governed by the rainfall kinetic energy, that is represented by the E or kinetic energy Ke, and the rainfall intensity I30, maximum 30-minute rainfall intensity. So and these are actually the parameter related with the watershed. So out of which K and LS denotes the physical characteristics of the land surface, what kind of soil condition we have, whether it is compact or what kind of soil texture we have, sandy, sand content, silt content, clay content. Okay, so all these things make soil erodible properties susceptible to erosion. LS represent the topography factors. So these cannot be controlled, but what can be controlled is actually your the C and P. So watershed management methods that are being applied on the system. So C denotes the vegetative cover over land surface, factor related with P denotes the factor related with the soil conservation practices. Okay, and then initially we have seen the rainfall erosivity factor, that is the first factor in this equation, which is denoted by R. So there are two ways to calculate this one, to estimate this one by using K kinetic energy into I30 method, K I30, and another is actually K greater than 25 mm rainfall intensity method. Okay, so R is actually denoting the erosivity factor, erosivity related with the rainfall. So Wishmere and Smith in 1991, they found that the product of kinetic energy and the kinetic energy of the storm and maximum 30-minute rainfall intensity is actually very good estimator of soil loss. So they have combined these two terms together, kinetic energy of the entire storm and the maximum 30-minute rainfall intensity within that storm duration. Uh, when we multiply, we'll get the I30. Okay. Here kinetic energy can be approximated by this empirical equation, which is given by K is equal to 210.3 plus 89 log I, where I is actually your intensity of the rainfall in centimeter per hour. Okay. So while estimating the kinetic energy, we are using the entire the storm, and we are calculating, we are finding out the value of kinetic energy for each rainfall intensity. Whereas from this entire storm, we are we are taking the maximum 30-minute rainfall intensity. So this is one example we have seen. So depending on the data which is given in the form of this kind of chart, will arrive at this kind of reading, rainfall reading over different duration. Okay, so time interval for 20 minutes we have got 0.13 centimeter rainfall. For next 5 minutes we have got 0.15, and depending on that we can calculate the rainfall intensity. Okay, and then for each of this rainfall intensity value we can calculate the kinetic energy by substituting the value of I, that we have calculated here, into this equation. So this will give us the kinetic energy in m ton hectare centimeter. When multiplied with the rainfall magnitude, we'll get the kinetic energy of the total rain. Okay, and summation of this is actually the total kinetic energy. Okay, so this is actually summation of that. Now we have to select out of this one which one is having maximum 30-minute rainfall intensity. Out of this one, these events, which one is actually having these readings, which one is having maximum 30-minute rainfall intensity. That value can be selected, and that can be multiplied with this sum of kinetic energy of rainfall to get the EI30 value. That actually gives us the rainfall erosivity factor. Okay, so that was the first method. Second method was related with the, so why we need the second method? Because first method was developed by considering the North American condition, which may or may not suitable for regions like tropical regions and subtropical region. But although some institute like Central Soil and Water Conservation Research and Training Institute, they have given that over most of the part of India it's applicable, but still this equation, the method one, was not meant for tropical region. So in that case, this second method can also be used. Okay, so here actually what we are doing, instead of calculating kinetic energy for all the rainfall for all the events or all the time step, we are just calculating those rainfall intensity which are having magnitude greater than 25 mm per hour, because 25 mm per hour is a threshold that is actually required for soil erosion to for initiation of soil erosion, or for detachment of soil erosion from that place. So all if the rainfall intensity is greater than 25 mm per hour, corresponding to that we calculate the kinetic energy, and that can be used to calculate the EI30. Okay, in the same way, so whichever whenever the value of intensity is greater than 25 mm per hour, all those event only can be used to calculate the kinetic energy, and here we'll get the sum of those kinetic energy event which are having the intensity greater than 25 mm per hour. And then so say other things are same. Here we'll use the maximum 30-minute rainfall intensity, and then we can calculate this EI30. So this is second method. For range of year, like for let's say 5 year, 10 years, it can be calculated by calculating by using this formula. R is actually your erosivity, and R is actually the event erosivity factor, sum of all erosivity factor divided by number of years. Okay, so that's the average condition. Okay, so that was the first parameter in our universal soil loss equation. Our second parameter is actually the erodibility factor. But before that, let's see what is mean by standard USLE unit plot. Because in the definition of this one, USLE, what we are seeing that that we are maintaining some condition with respect to that how much soil loss is happening. Okay, so this is actually a standard dimension of USLE unit plot that is shown in this figure. Here is actually okay. So approximate width is here approximate width is let's say around 4 meter. The height is 2 meters. So for a 22.13 meter, the elevation, the drop is actually 22. So that is actually slope. So if you want to calculate the slope gradient, it will be around 9%. Okay, so 2 divided by 22.13 meter, that is actually your slope, percentage slope. The length of the plot or length of the run is actually 22.13. Yeah, so this is given here. Slope is around 2 by 22.13, 0.09, that is around 9%. Cover is actually fallow. Fallow means nothing is, we are not growing anything here. It is kept fallow, but some tillage operation is done from top to bottom. Okay, in this direction some tillage operation is done. Okay. So that is actually a definition of our standard USLE plot. So this standard USLE plot, this will use this information in developing the various factor K, LS, C, and P. So this is actually the standard USLE plot. Okay, so why we are doing that? Like for example, by controlling. So here we are not growing anything, means there is no vegetative cover. Means C is actually 1. We are not following any practices erosion control practices or or the conservation practice thing. So P, that's why P is equal to 1. LS is actually topography. So here actually L and S actually, if you see, their value is also 1 if you want to calculate. So in yesterday we have seen by substituting the value of L and S individually into the equation. For example, L was given as okay, so L was we have seen how to get the value of L. So L is equal to, let's say, length of slope of one particular length of flow divided by 22.13. That is actually dimension of this one raised to m exponent. Okay, so if you substitute, if the length of our flow is 1, okay, so this will become 1. Similarly, S is actually our the slope gradient factor or slope stiffness factor, which is given by S is equal to 0.43 plus 0.30S plus 0.043 S square divided by 6.613. Here S is actually your there is a small s that represent the slope of the field in percent. So if you substitute S small s is equal to 9% here, you will get this S value is equal to 1. So what we are effectively doing here actually, we are just making this equation as a function of R and K. Okay, so this LS and CP will be equal to 1. So the soil loss will be only function of R and K. Okay. So here R is actually rainfall erosivity that can be estimated, means that is actually related with the property of the rainfall. What property? That is the kinetic energy of the raindrop, kinetic energy of the entire storm, and the maximum 30-minute rainfall intensity. So if we have some setup like rainfall simulators, all these things also can be regulated, and we can calculate we can either calculate the value of K uh, by substituting the value of we can calculate the value of K by substituting the value of A. So A can be either directly measured. So for this particular plot, we can estimate the K, because now this is equal to 1. So this is equal to 1. R can be derived using, so this equation will become like this. Okay. So R can be determined because R is actually driven by this rainfall simulator. So the property or erosivity can be modeled here. Both of these terms can be calculated effectively, and A is actually a rainfall. A is actually a soil loss that can be measured from a given plot. Okay, so we can collect the runoff and we can measure how much soil is being collected in the uh, in uh, in the plot in the this kind of so this is actually your uh, uh, like so let's say this is your field. So this is one plot which is not covered and it is following this condition. Let's say this is 22.13, and here actually we'll mount the rainfall simulator and we can have this kind of intensity of rainfall. This length is, let's say, approximately 22.13, and this can be collected in a chamber or in a tank, runoff tank, using this multi-slot divider. So from this we can take sample to calculate the value of soil loss that is being collected from this plot. Okay, so that will give us the rainfall that will give us the soil erodibility for this plot. Okay, so 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 likewise we can use this concept of the standard USL unit plot to calculate or to estimate the value of different factor K, L, S, C, and P. We'll see this one by one when we are going to when we are seeing the equation of each of these parameters, how to estimate the value of each of these parameter. Okay, so this is the rainfall simulator. Okay, so any questions so far?
No, sir.
Okay, so what we are effectively doing, understood, right? This LS is actually rated with the plot size. C and P is actually what we are doing here on this plot. So if we control this one, so this will become 1, and by actually measuring the soil loss from this one, and by simulating rainfall of particular type, we can find out the value of K here. So that is one approach to calculate the any one parameter, like soil erodibility in this case, using the standard USL unit plot approach. Okay, so this is one photograph that shows the rainfall simulator. Okay, so this is a plot. So this is in the laboratory. So this is one soil bed is there actually, which is having some approximate length is equal to 22.13, and some slope can be assigned to this one, and the runoff from this can be collected into the tank, and that can be measured separately. On field also, this kind of setup can be possible. So this is, let's say, your field, which is having some slope, or let's say 22 point slope is equal to 9%, and length of slope is around 22.13, and that can be collected into this chamber or runoff tank using this multi-slot divider. Okay, this is also one picture that shows the rainfall simulator. So we can regulate the intensity of rainfall, and for that given intensity we can measure the soil loss, and from that we can estimate the value of K. Okay, this is one more example that shows the example of erosion plots with a total collection of sediment into the tank. So these are the tank. This is also similar kind of. So here we have grown something, and that can be so depending on this surface cover, how much runoff is being collected in this tank, that can be measured along with the along with this runoff volume, how much soil loss or how much what is the quantity of soil loss that can be estimated by measuring by taking the sample from this chamber. Okay, so let's see the second factor, that is actually your that is our soil erodibility factor, that is represented by K. Okay, so the soil erodibility denotes the resistance of soil to both detachment and the transportation, and it can be determined through measurement of soil loss from standard runoff plot that we have seen just now. Okay, so soil erodibility index K is defined as sometimes we call it as index, sometimes we call it as a factor. So essentially it is related with the soil erodibility of the soil. So erodibility of the soil, this factor denotes, the K denotes the erodibility of the soil, and it is defined as the mean annual soil loss per unit of erosivity for a standard condition of a bare soil. Okay, so this is the standard conditions. Likewise also we can calculate with reference to some standard value. So from the standard plot, what is the soil loss that we are going to get? That is actually your denominator, and this is actually the soil loss. A soil loss for CPLS is equal to 1. Okay, so K is actually, it can be find out like this. Okay, so here L by using this standard USLE plot dimension, that is L is equal to 20, length of slope is around 22.13 meter, slope gradient around 9%, bare flow means bare follow means bare land or fallow land that is having no vegetation cover. So using this we can find this LSC and P is equal to 1, and that can be used to calculate the soil loss, or then it will become, this equation will become like soil loss will become function of erosivity and erodibility. Okay, so the K represent the mean annual soil loss per unit of erosivity for a standard condition of a bare soil when there is no conservation practices, means value of C and P is equal to 1, and having slope length of 22.13 and slope steepness around 9%. Okay, sorry. Okay, so any doubts so far? So you understood, right? Here this term denotes the R that we have seen, EI30 value. So here by using this standard USLE plot method, we can find out this one. Like soil loss will become function of R and K. R is actually rainfall erosivity. That is actually this is your denominator that we have seen how to calculate the EI30. That is your R. And for this condition, this is actually your annual soil loss. Okay. So K here actually is equal to A upon your R value. Okay. So as we said, erodibility is a very important parameter that is actually that governs the resistance, how much resistant the soil is for detachment and transportation. For example, the soil which is having very high content of silt are known to have more erodible content. Sand and clay, although their detachment and transport process are different, but somehow they are less erodible as compared to the silt. Clay is having, for example, it's difficult to detach, but it can be easily transported. But on the other hand, sand, it can be easily detached, but because of its like size, it cannot be transported to a very far distance. On the other hand, the silts are actually the soils which are having very high silt contents are having more erosion potential or more vulnerable to erosion. So the soil that are having high content of silt are more erodible. So, so we have seen, so K can be determined by using two methods, runoff plot methods, and by using the soil properties. So runoff plot method we have just seen. Uh, okay, so in runoff plot, what we are doing, we are actually collecting the runoff, and from this runoff, from a soil plot, we are collecting that runoff volume, and from that runoff volume, we are taking a sample, let's say around 500 to 100 centimeter cube. That sample will be drawn, and from that actually we can calculate how much amount of soil, grams of soil per liter is there in that sample. Okay, so we can calculate the soil loss. So soil loss in tons per plot can be calculated like this. By from this runoff, we can estimate how much amount of soil loss. We can calculate how much amount of soil loss was there in terms of gram per liter. That multiplied by the volume, that is in liters, that will give us in terms of like tons from that plot. Okay, and then it can be converted in terms of hectare. So when this one divided by the area of plot, will get tons per hectare. Okay, and then we can calculate the annual soil loss in terms of tons per hectare per year by uh, by summing or by combining or by adding all the soil loss from all the events during the year. So that will give us the annual soil loss in tons per hectare per year. Okay, and once we know the annual soil loss, we can calculate the value of K as K is equal to adjusted soil loss upon total EI. So total EI we have just seen, that is actually your erosivity factor, and adjusted soil loss is actually we have just seen is actually can be calculated like this. It's a ratio of like observed soil loss from a plot which is having some length as L, some length equal to L and slope is equal to L with respect to the LS factor, or with respect to uh, or with respect to a plot which is having equal to 22.13 meter and slope gradient is equal to uh, uh, slope slope steepness factor is equal to 9%. Okay, so based on that we can calculate this adjusted soil loss. This divided by your rainfall erosivity will give us the value of K. So this is just we have seen in here. So what we are doing here is actually a same, but here is actually in more detailed way that calculation is given. Okay, the same thing what we are doing here. Okay, so here actually in this equation, uh, okay, so this adjusted soil loss means it's a soil loss that is actually with respect to the standard condition, what is observed soil loss? That is actually our adjusted soil loss, that divided by this total EI will give us the value of K. Okay, so this method we can use for, we can collect data for like various year, 5 years or even more than that. But the uh, since we are collecting or we are measuring the soil loss, that is good, but we cannot use it always, means all the time we cannot use it because it requires a lot of expense. It is quite expensive because each time we have to do data collection, we have to take readings, we have to employ some farm labor, some equipments will be required. So a lot of the cost of cost of determination of this K factor is actually more if you are just directly measuring from the runoff lot method. So that is one thing. So so what we can do, we can estimate using the properties of the soil property. We can estimate the value of K. So that we are going to see in the next slide. Okay, so depending on what kind of soil we have in terms of its textural property, for example, percentage sand, percentage silt, and percentage fine sand, and percentage clay, that is related to the soil texture. What kind of organic matter we have, how much amount of organic matter we have, what is the antecedent soil moisture content, and structure of the soil. All these things actually will give us the based on this information we can estimate the value of K. Okay, so this is one empirical relation that is shown here, where K is actually your erodibility factor that we are interested to find out. So here K is a function of your M, that is actually that denotes the particle size parameter. M is actually your particle size parameter or soil texture parameter. That is a function of how much amount of percentage of soil, percentage of silt plus percent of fine sand into 100 minus percent clay. That is actually your particle size parameter, this parameter. Then OM is actually your percentage organic matter. Here your SS is actually parameter that is related with the your structure of the soil. Structure in the sense whether the structure is like a soil is very finely a granule, the structure is very fine granule, or medium granule, or coarse granule, or the soil is actually kind of blocky soil or platy soil. So this is actually denoted by the soil structure code. And PP is actually your permeability factor, profile permeability factor. That denotes the whether it is like permeability is very rapid or moderately rapid or moderate, or the permeability. Permeability means how fast soil is allowing water to pass through it, or depending on its structure, whether the, for example, in case of sand, it is highly permeable, it is allowing water to pass through it. Okay, so that is the permeability. So permeability is actually uh, this factor, whether the soil is rapidly permeable, moderately permeable, slowly permeable, impermeable, slow or very slow. All these things are actually denoted by this PP factor. Okay, and for different kind of the volcanic soil also, these some other equations also there, but right now we are just limiting depending on the soil texture parameter, the organic content parameter, the soil structure parameter, and permeability parameter. Based on that, this empirical equation can be used to estimate the value of hydraulic value of soil erodibility factor K. Okay, so let's see the how it can be derived, or what is the importance of this. For example, here, okay, so why it is important, the erodibility. For example, in case of if the soil is clay, the content of clay is more in the soil, then the value of K will be smaller. Why? Because then in that case soil will be uh, relatively less erodible. Okay, because they'll have more resistant to detachment. On similarly, if the soil is coarse texture soil, for example the sandy, although they'll get easily detached, but they cannot be transported to large distance, so runoff potential will be less in case of coarse texture soil. So here also the value of soil erodibility will be smaller in that case. Similarly, in case of moderately textured soil, the value of K will be moderate value of K, because they are moderate potential to the both detachment and runoff production. On the other hand, if the soil is having very high content of silt, then those soils are more erodible because they can be easily detached, and they can be transported to a larger distance because of the high rates of runoff. So in that case, the value of K will be 1 greater than 0.4. So let's see one example. Okay, so this kind of graph can be used. Okay, let's first see this example here. Okay, so here in this example, what is given to us, we have given a particular kind of soil which is having 65%, which is having a 65% silt and 65% silt and very fine sand, and the the sand is actually the coarser sand which is having size greater than uh, greater than 0.1 to 2 mm. That size is that content, that percent is around 5%. So this is actually your uh, um, so this is actually a very fine sand that is having a diameter of, or size is less than 0.1 mm. So these kinds of so soil particle, so 65% is having a 65% silt and very fine sand of this dimension, and we have 5% sand which is having dimension particle size between 0.1 10 10 0.10 to 2 mm. So 5% sand in of this dimension, and we have an organic matter content around 2.8%. This is actually your SS, the structure of the soil. Structure of the soil is fine granular soil structure, and PP factor means the permeability. The permeability factor means slow to moderate. Okay, so this data set is given to us. Based on that, we have to estimate the value of K. Okay, so we can estimate based on the by collecting the runoff and measuring the runoff. That is actually your field-based collection method, but that method cannot be used every time. So in order to have estimate of the soil loss, estimate of this K, this kind of equation, empirical equation can be used. So that we are going to see how to calculate. We can either use that equation or we can use some ready-made nomograph that is there. Nomograph or actually a kind of this kind of graph. Sorry, nomogram. This is a nomogram that denotes the combination of various parameters. So we have seen what is given to us. So what is there is in gray box, that is actually given to us. So sand and silt contains around 65%, 5% sand, 2% organic matter. So let's start with this 65%. On y-axis you can see we have units of percent silt and very fine sand. So that is given to us, that is around 65%. Okay, so let's draw a horizontal lines. This is around 65% silt and very fine sand. The sand content that is given to us is actually which is of this dimension around 5%. Okay, so these are actually the sand content. So this is a line of 5% sand content. Okay, so if you extend this line, it will meet here. Okay, now from this line actually what else is given to us is actually organic matter that is given to us 2.8%. Okay, so here we have various lines, that various curves that shows the organic matter. So we can simply draw a line around up to 2.8%, which is close to 3. Okay, so this is actually a line of 2.8 or the value close to 2.8 organic matter, which is having combination of 65% silt and fine sand and 5% sand. Okay, so now from that actually we again will draw a horizontal line here. Okay, so this is actually now having combination of these two parameters, that is actually the structure of the soil and permeability of the soil. So these are the curves that actually these are the lines that denotes the value of structure. So this is grade 1, means that is actually if the soil is very fine granules, that we have to follow this line. If it is fine granule, we have to follow this 2 number line. If the soil is around medium to coarse granule, then this 3 number of line. If the soil is blocky, plateau and massive soil structure, then we have to follow this 4th. What is given to us actually, soil is the structure of the soil is fine granule, so we'll follow 2 number. Okay, so this will approximately intersect here. Okay, so this is a point. So from this point we'll draw a vertical line. Okay, so this vertical line. Now what else is given to us actually is the permeability. Okay, so the permeability is slow to moderate. So depending on slow to moderate means line number 4. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 number line. So it interacts here to this line, and then we can extend it here to find out the value of K. Okay, so from this nomogram method, we can find out the value of K is approximately 0.3, 0.31 from this figure. So we can use this kind of plots, or we can also use that the empirical equation that we have used to estimate the value of K. Okay. Yeah, so till now, so now right now we have seen the how to estimate value of R and erosivity factor and erodibility factor. Now comes to the now let's see the next factor, that is actually your topography factor, which is a combination of L and S. Okay, where L is actually your slope length factor and S is actually slope gradient factor or slope steepness factor, and together these two factors are called as the topographic factor. Okay, so this topographic factor LS includes the slope length, length of slope, that is denoted by smaller or LP in meters. Okay, so units are important here, L or LP in meters, and slope steepness, uh, slope steepness factor. This is slope steepness factor. Okay, slope stiffness factor, that is actually a ratio which is represented by S. So let's see first this L factor. Okay, so L is actually your slope length factor. So why this slope length factor is important? Because if the slope length is more, then what will happen? Any guess? Length of slope means if the water has to travel more, if the length of slope is more, then what will happen to the soil erosion? Means that water is not been intercepted by any other mechanical mean or any barrier. Okay, in that case, what will happen if the length of slope is more, if the slope length factor is more?
Sir, less soil will be eroded.
No, if the length is more. Okay, in the combination of let's say you are saying that when the soil is flat, but when I'm saying that when the soil is steep and the length of slope is more. So for example, this is okay, so this is our terrain and this is actually your length, slope length. Okay, so compared to this one, which one will be having higher erosion for same slope actually? At the end actually, if you are collecting here and if you are collecting here, you are reading.
Sir, in longer one.
In longer one, because it will try to accumulate the flow from it will try to accumulate a bigger length of concentration flow, overland flow. Okay, so along with that, because at every segment its carrying capacity will increase, because it will be having, so at this point this much amount of volume of water is being carried. So because of this one whatever amount of soil will get detached at this point will be subjected to the rainfall, and as well as this runoff that is being collected here. Similarly here it will be governed by how much runoff volume we have. At here, how much runoff volume we have. At here, this total overland flow will be governing the. So the more, the larger the slope length, there will be higher concentration of overland flow, and because of that also the velocity of flow will also be high, and in that way it will affect the uh, like soil loss. So soil loss, right? This is not S. This is soil loss. Soil loss is actually non-linearly related with the length of slope. Okay, where which m is actually that exponent. So here actually we can calculate, value of L. L is actually your slope length factor, and here LP is actually your actual slope length. So value of slope length factor L is given by this expression, which is given by LP by 22.13 by M. Why 22.13? Because we are comparing with respect to the normal, with respect to the standard condition when the slope length is uh, 22.13. In that case, related to that, what is the slope length? And M is actually your exponent that is actually related with the that is also related with the standard USLE plot dimension. Okay, so M is actually exponent, which is actually a ratio of soil loss from a field from an actual field plot length to the soil loss from a unit plot width of which is having length 22.13. Okay, so compared to a unit plot which is having 22.13 meter, what is the soil loss that has been collected from a plot of any given length LP? Okay, soil loss from this LP slope length uh, plot length divided by soil loss from standard unit plot which is having length of 22.13. That is actually your M. It can be estimated by this empirical equation which is given by M is equal to sine theta upon sine theta plus 0.269 into sine theta raised to 0.8 plus 0.05. Okay, here where theta denotes the field slope in percent in degrees. Okay, so where theta is actually tan inverse of your field slope. That if you can substitute, you can find out the value of M, and you can substitute here to for any value of slope length. For example, 10 meter slope length, 15 meter slope length, any value of slope length. For example, 25, 50 meter slope length, 75 meter slope length, 80 meter slope length. For this one, we can find out the value of corresponding the factor, slope length factor. Okay, we can either use this equation, or we can, depending on the soil type, we can use these kinds of values as well. So for slope greater than 5%, we can use value of M is equal to 0.5. For slope for a field which are having 4% of slope, we can take M is equal to 0.4. For field which are having 3% slope, we can use this 0.3, M is equal to 0.3. And for 1% slope, we can use like 1% slope. But most of the time we follow, if you are like if it is specified, we can use either this for slope greater than 5%, 0.5, and if the slope are any value of slope less than 0.3%, we can also use 0.3. So depending on the situation, we can either use this relation, or we can use this expression to calculate, to estimate the value of M. That can be substituted here to find out the value of slope length factor. So how to measure this LP? LP is actually your slope length, actual slope length. So it can be measured from a point where the deposition begins, or from the point where the surface flow is originated to the outlet of the channel. Okay, so actual length of your slope length. Okay, which is actually contributing, which is actually playing an important role into the your runoff process, overland flow process. So this is how we can estimate the value of L. That is actually slope length factor. Other factor is actually our slope steepness factor. So steeper the slope, there will be more scoring action, and it will collect more. It will collect more amount of soil particle, and because of that also, and so because of that, more soil will be eroded. On the other hand, in case of, for example, if the soil is more steep, then and if the raindrop are impacting like this, then the splash uh, will also carry a lot of moisture. So impact of splash erosion, or the role of influence of splash erosion, will also be more in case of inclined or more steeper slope. Okay, so this we have seen, and so slope steepness factor S, which is a function of your slope. So this is S is actually your slope of the field in terms of percent. So we can also estimate the value of slope steepness factor or slope gradient factor by substituting the value of slope of the field in percentage, which is given by H is equal to 0.43 plus 0.3s plus 0.043 s square upon 6.613. So here also that concept is coming to this standard USLE plot thing. We can either use this expression or this equation expression. These are both empirical equation. to find out the value of S. So L, this is actually your slope length factor, this is slope stiffness factor, and together these two are actually your topographic factor, LS factor. Or we can also use it can also be used from standard nomograph. Sorry, this should be this is not monograph. This is nomograph. Okay. Okay. These kinds of tables, tableized value can also be used to find out the value of uh, depending on percentage slope. We can find out this. This is a relation which shows the value of LS factor. So values of the topographic LS factor for specific combination of slope length, that is actually your L, and steepness factor. Okay, so for example, our slope length is around 200 feet and the percentage slope is around 0.8%. Okay, so for that our LS value, so this is actually your percentage slope, and this is actually our slope length. So for 200 and 0.8, our value of LS will be equal to 0.13. Okay. So this kind of table also be used, and these are the assumption here. So here LS will be calculated. So this is similar expressions what we have seen. So previous expression we have seen in terms of meters, but this is in terms of feet. Only the difference. So this is related with the S, and this is related with the L. Okay. These relations are actually applicable for like when m is equal to 0.2, which is applicable for gradient 1 if the m is equal to 0.2 when where the slope is less than 1%, m is equal to 0.3 when slope is 1 to 3%, and when m is equal to 0.4 when the slope is around 3.5 to 5%. Okay, and theta is actually angle of slope. The same thing actually, but tabularized form. So this is how we can, or we can use this kind of charts also to find out the value of LS. Okay, so this is actually your LS factor versus your slope length. Sorry. Okay, so for different percentage of slope and different slope length, for example, the slope length is, let's say, 100, and for slope is slope steepness is around 2%, percentage slope is 2%, then these are the expression. So oh sorry, so this kind of chart, so this is actually we have a topography, let's say for 80. And this 2%, this one, we can find out the value of LS. Okay, so this is one way. Another way is actually, so this is, I have this kind of chart also are available. So this I have taken from this source. So for different length of slope, 30 meter, 61 meter, and different percentage of the slope, these are the value of LS factor. So these are also a lookup table kind of information that is given to us. So that can also be utilized to find out the value of LS factor depending on the slope length and a percentage slope. Okay. So now then come to our next parameter. So right now we have seen these three parameter R, K, LS, and now this is actually crop management factor, or it is also called as sometimes vegetative cover factor. So how much amount of vegetative cover we have and how vegetative cover is influencing the erosion process. Okay. So we all know depending on the vegetation cover, how it influence or how it controls the runoff process or erosion process, because presence of vegetation is a good thing because vegetative cover will try to dissipate the impact of raindrop on the soil surface, and in a way it will protect the soil from fresh erosion by modifying the volume of runoff, uh, um, drop size and the coefficient of distribution, impact velocity, what will be the impact by which the raindrop will impact to the ground, and the kinetic energy of rainfall, because this erosive power of rainfall will be intercepted by this vegetative cover. So depending on what kind of vegetative cover we have, we'll have different degrees of erosion. Okay, so similar to other factors K, L, and S, this also tells us is actually a ratio of like two things: a ratio of soil loss under given crop, any given crop, with respect to soil loss from a bare soil or standard USLE setup. Okay, so it includes other various effects, for example, the cover, crop sequence, tillage practices, residue management, and expected time distribution of erosion rainstorm. So depending on this, what kind of vegetative cover we have, the amount of runoff can be, uh, amount of erosion can be controlled. Okay, so this crop, this is also called as crop management factor, and this can also be estimated by from this by looking at this tabulated value, which are given here. So here we can see value of factor, crop management factor or vegetative cover factor for different kind of cover. So for example, different kinds of vegetation canopy which is given depending on their height and percentage cover and different types and okay. So let's see this one by one. So this table denotes the factor C for permanent pasture, range, and ideal land, and which is given by Wishmere in 1978, which is subjected to random distribution of vegetation and mulch over entire area. Okay. Now, in this column, we shows the type and height. Okay. So tall means what? So when we are using this tall, short, this relation are actually related with the canopy height. Okay. So canopy height here is actually measured as an average fall height of water drops falling from that canopy to the ground. Okay. So if the canopy height is more, then like it will have the effect of canopy will be negligible, because then the kinetic energy of the raindrop will be more. Okay. So canopy height is measured as the average fall height of water drop falling from the canopy to the ground. Then here we have the percentage cover. Okay, so depending on, let's say this is canopy. So when we are looking when we are taking at the bird's eye view or top view, so portion of total area surface that would be hidden from the view. Okay, by canopy in a vertical projection. If you take a vertical projection of the canopy, then how much amount of area is covered by the canopy? So let's say this is actually 25% of the total area is entirely covered by the 25% area of this plot is actually covered by this canopy. That is actually your this. Okay. Now type of cover, whether it is at the ground, whether it is covered by a grass, small grass, uh, or it is covered by mostly broadleaf plants or weeds. Weeds are the plants that are actually not desirable to us. Okay, so G denotes the grass and W denotes the weeds. Okay, now so if this grass is there and weeds are there, what is their coverage? Whether it is 20%, 40%, 50%, depending on that, we can choose those values. So for example, uh, uh, for example, in our land we have like some bushes are there or some trees are there which are having uh, appreciable with trees but no appreciable low bruces. Okay, so for example, trees are there, that accounts for that canopy accounts for 25% of cover, and at the ground we have some grass which is having like 20% of this small grass are there, then our C factor will be around 0.19. Okay, so for example, different for similarly for different combination of this one we can choose different value of C. Okay, so this is how we can estimate value of C. So this is also one table that shows for various soil vegetation cover value of C. For example, in case of bare soil, so bare soil is completely exposed to the, means there is there is no protection from the vegetation, so it is having very high runoff potential, very high soilless potential. So average annual soil factor is 1. Average annual C factor is actually 1 here. And for example, it is if it is completely covered with the tree, let's say in case of mm, let's say some trees. Okay, or let's say in case of cotton or some or let's say forest. Okay, so forest means most of the area is covered, that's why the potential to cause runoff is potential to cause soil loss is actually very small. So that's why value of C factor is very smaller here. So compared to the standard USLE plot, how much so suppose you have a plot which is actually having very high like very good amount of tree canopy there, and it is entirely like a forest land is there. Okay, so compared to a plot which is having no forest cover and the standard like we have 22.13 meter land and 9% slope, compared to this, what is the value of C? That is what these values represent here. Okay, so in case of completely bare and fallow soil, bare land, we have the C factor is equal to 1, and in case of forest, the soil loss collected from this land will be very smaller. Okay, so this ratio will be very smaller, that is being represented here. So these are the values of C. Similarly, we can find out the value of P. So P denotes the like what kind of conservation practices we are following. Conservation practices mean in the form of contouring, the terracing, or like strip cropping, or no conservation practice. If you are not following any conservation practices, then the value is P. Similar to C, if you are not doing anything, the value of P will be 1. But if you are following some conservation practice, for example, contour cropping, the value will be 0.6. If you are doing like strip cropping, then the value of P will be 0.3. So similar to this other parameter, this also denotes a ratio. It represents the ratio of soil loss from a land where conservation practices are being followed. For example, the contour and cropping. So compared to a land which is following some conservation practices, and with respect to no conservation practices. Okay, so ratio of this one, soil loss from this and divided by soil loss from this no conservation practice, that actually give us the conservation practice P factor P. Okay, so these are some values. So for different types of land, different values of land slope, and different types of practices. For example, for example, land slope which is having 1.1 to 2%, and if you are following contouring, so contouring means we are using like along the contour we are doing agriculture. So means or that is actually a contour cropping. So that is the value of P will be around 0.6. And for example, if you are doing terracing, so we'll see what is meant by terracing. Then we'll be having the value of P is equal to 1, P is equal to 0.1. Okay, so terracing is more effective for like this kind of as compared to this one. We can see the value of P is very smaller here. Okay. Okay, so this is one more table that shows the contouring at 2.225% slope. Value of P will be 0.5. And suppose if you are doing the terrace, level bench terrace, then the value of P is actually 0.4. Let's quickly see what is mean by this terrace and contour. Let's see if I have a diagram here. Uh, oh. Mm. Yeah. So these are the, yeah. So this is actually your bench terrace. So this is our the terracing. So we are just along the slope actually. So this is actually your hill slope, and here actually we are making a step like farming. We are making a step like structure, level land. On this actually we are doing the farming. So this is more effective as compared to the like when the entire slope is there. So here actually soil erosion will be comparatively smaller. So value of P will be smaller here as compared to the completely barren soil. So this is terracing. These are actually your bunds. Means we are collecting water. Suppose water is flowing in this direction. Okay. Okay. So let's say this is a direction of the slope, and we are making this bund so the water can be collected. So soil loss can be so running water along with that the soil can be collected here, so it will not be eroded. Okay. Yeah. So these are the things. Let's come to our discussion of. Okay. So that is actually our the parameter P. Okay. Um, these slides are okay. So right now we have calculated all the value this R, K, LS, and CP, and by substituting this value, we can estimate the soil loss from a given field. Okay. So if the value of soil loss is higher, then we have various options. For example, if it is high, then we can reduce. We can change the value of C and P by following proper by having proper vegetation cover and proper conservation practices. We can reduce the value of A. Okay. So this is how we can reduce the soil loss. Another important thing is actually the maximum rate of erosion that will permit a high level of crop produce indefinitely is known as soil loss tolerance limit. Okay, so beyond that, actually, the productivity will be affected. Okay, so these are some of the applications of USLE. So USLE can be used to provide specific or reliable guide for selecting proper or appropriate erosion control practices for particular land and construction. But most of the time, let's say this is actually, uh, let's say this KL. Let's say if you decided with C and P, and K and LS is actually kind of fixed, and we can find out the value or um, okay, uh, or let's say if we know the value of A, if we know the value of A, means this is our desired, means we don't want soil loss to be beyond this limit. Let's say if we fix this one, if we fix this one as well, okay, and this one. Okay, so from that actually we can find out the value of optimum combination of L. What will be the optimum LP value of length of slope or length of segment? That design component design dimension also can be calculated from here. Okay. The limitation of USL is actually it is not suitable for predicting erosion for a particular event. It is giving the average annual soil loss. Okay. So that is our limitation. Another advantage or application is actually to determine the upland erosion, how much erosion that has been that has happened over the and how much reservoir sedimentation that took place, and stream loading and control of uh, took place over the upstream section. So that kind of application can also be thought of from this USLE. So with that, we'll stop here. In the next class, we'll continue our discussion on this one, how it can be modified in order to have a value for like a particular soil loss.